You're listening to the No Limits Map the Triathlon podcast. This is episode number 96. 6 days ago, I competed in the 2021 Ironman World Championships, which took place in 2022 in St. George, Utah. I was a DNF. Big question is, do I feel sad? This will be an interesting episode, so stick around. Hi, I'm Todd Malcolm, and I've been in the sport of triathlon for over 25 years. I'm head coach of a triathlon group you've probably never heard of. We don't train all the time, and we don't have goals to win races. In fact, our motivation is the exact opposite. We train for triathlons in addition to living busy lives with the goal of staying in shape and challenging ourselves in this amazing sport of triathlon. We are triathletes with no limits, and this is your map to triathlon. Okay, so today I'm drinking coffee out of my brand new Ironman World Championships mug from St. George, Utah. Let's taste it. It's so good. I'm coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. Like I said, I raced in St. George on Saturday. Today is Thursday. And I'm doing a little bit of a vacation. So I'm driving around and checking out cool things. Yesterday I was in Sedona. Oh my gosh, Sedona is so beautiful. I live in Canada, Calgary, Canada, and a close mountain town to us is called Banff, and it's beautiful, beautiful. Sedona, I find, is very similar. It's a very touristy, beautiful little town, but instead of having Rocky Mountains, Sedona has Red Rock Mountains, and arches and canyons and cool things like that. And it was a fun place to hang out for a little bit, and the energy was great. The weather was fantastic. Today I woke up with looking at my social media, and I saw that back home in Calgary they woke up to snow. There is no snow here, so I feel for you, and I'm in no rush to get back. But I've had many people ask me, "Hey coach, how are you doing? Sorry about your race. How are you feeling? Hope you're doing okay." And the big question is, well, what happened? And that's a really good question. Before I get to that, I want to answer the question that I titled this podcast, which is, do I feel sad? Now, this is a really interesting question for me. Now, when I went into this race, now I just want to say I've never raced an Ironman this early in the season before. So early May is super, super early for a Canadian. For many people who can't get outside and ride their bikes. We still had snow. We're skiing, right? So to get out and race in a temperature that's so hot, normally I would never choose to race at this time of year, unless it's a race that I really want to do. Now, back in 2021, I raced Ironman Arizona, and if you recall, during that bike course, I'm like, this is it. I'm never doing another Ironman again. I'm not enjoying it. I'm over this. And that's it. That was number 17. And I went to the awards presentation in the morning, and I watched the race day footage video that they created. And I got hooked to go, okay, I want to do it again. Because, it's the same old story, right? A lot of people say that, I'll never do it again. Next thing you know, you're starting up for another one. So I was able to get a spot to the World Championships on a roll down. And I thought, this is a sign. I'm going to take it. And I've always wanted to race in St. George. Because St. George, my wife and I drove through here a few years ago when we were picking up our dog who was in California. And we had coffee overlooking the Red Rocks. I'm like, this is a beautiful place. This place is incredible. It spoke to me, and I felt that if I have the chance to race, I'm going to take it. So I had that opportunity. I signed up, and I got my butt to St. George's race. So I had this desire to race here, and I feel that I did a pretty good job of getting myself in shape to do this race. I wasn't in great shape to be, competitive, but I knew that I would be able to complete it. At least I thought I would. I did the training to get it through because first of all, this would be my first race of the year. And yes, I know it's the World Championships, but really it was just an opportunity to come to St. George and race and have a great time. Have a great time. Now, I also want to say that I did have a great time. Like leading up to the race, if you follow me on any other social media like Facebook or Instagram, I posted a video a day, and I started off, "Hey, welcome to day 7 today. Welcome to day number 1." And I did that for I think 6 or 7 days leading up to the race. And for me, that was fun. Like it was super fun, and seeing what I would be doing every day and along my journey to go from. And I drove down from Calgary to St. George. It took me 2 days, and I had a rooftop tent, and so I was showing you guys some of the interestingness that was happening with having a tent on top. And the stories were great, and I really enjoyed that. When race day came, I felt I was ready to go, and for sure there were some questions in the back of my head whether, what's going to happen, but that's normal. Anytime you go into an Ironman, everyone has a question in the back of their head going, "Hey, I wonder what's going to happen," because you just never know. Now, I was unable to finish. This was my 18th Ironman and my 3rd DNF. And I wish I could say that my success rate was 100%, like 18 for 18, but it's not. It's 15 out of 18. And, if you asked me leading into this race, "Todd, do you think you're going to DNF?" I'm like, "No, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to try my darndest for that not to happen." But I got through the swim. I got through the bike. I had some issues on the bike with a technical issue with my aero bar. I found that the heat really zapped my energy. When I got to special needs at 90K, I had 3 bottles on my bike. I tossed those and replaced with 3 bottles from my bag that I already had ready. And when I took a first sip from my bottle, I go, "Oh my gosh, this is so hot." It was so hot, and I couldn't drink from any of the bottles. I had to wait to the next aid station. And it just went on and on. So small things kind of added up over time, which eventually led to me getting off the bike with zero energy in the tank. It's like driving your car. When your car runs out of gas? And what I do is I've never actually run out of gas. Like completely run out of gas, but I've come pretty close. Like we all have these cars that tell you how much mileage or kilometers you have left until you run out of gas, right? So there've been some times where I've taken it to 0 and I go, and you can feel the stress in you. And when I get to 0 driving a car, what I do is I slow everything down. I turn everything off, turn off the air conditioning, turn everything off, try to conserve energy as much as possible so that I can, if I have to cruise through and get there on fumes, I can do that. Well, we had a training camp. It reminds me of a training camp we did in Mallorca quite a few years ago. And we were there for like 7 days, and I think we had like three cars, and I was in charge of one of the cars, and I kept going to these beaches on the car, and I eventually burned out all the gas. But we had to go from the northern part of the island to the southern part of the island. I remember waking up going, "That's no big deal, just wake up and go to the gas station and fill up." Well, they were chained off. It was not like here in North America where you just go in and fill up, tap your card and away you go. No. They were closed. They were closed, and it was something like 5 in the morning. They didn't open till 7, and we're supposed to be on the flight at 7. That caused me a bit of grief, and I kid you not, I must have rolled into the airport like the car rental drop off on nothing, just fumes. And how did we make it there? I have no idea, but I made it. When that happens to your body, it's a similar thing that when you're empty, you're done. No matter how hard you press on the gas pedal, if there's no fuel in that tank, your body's not going to go, just like your car's not going to go. And so that is what happened to me. I found that when I got to the end of the bike ride, I felt completely spent. When I ended up going to second transition, in my head I'm thinking, oh man, I feel so tired. Can I even do this? Of course you can do this. You've done this many times. Get in there, change into your run stuff, and then just going, yeah, I know the first few kilometers are going to be challenging, but just do it. You've done it many times. You can do it. So that's what I did. I sat down, I grabbed my bag, sat down, put on my socks, shoes, running hat, race belt, and then I switched my watch to run mode, and I pressed, no, I didn't press start yet, because when I exited the tent I had to go to the porta potty. And it's funny, the volunteers were like, porta potty's this way, race this way. And I wasn't ready to join the race yet. I had to go to the porta potty and I had to pee, because I figured, let's do this now so that I don't have to pee on the course. So then I exit the porta potty feeling tired, but a little bit, feeling better. And then I started running, and I felt okay. And then once we got out, like, onto the road, and incline was immediate, I'm like, oh, this does not feel good. So I went from running to walking like that. And I'm like, it's okay, it's all right, just keep walking. You're eventually going to shake this off. You're going to get to some aid stations. You can cool yourself off, grab some calories, grab some fluid, some ice. You know what to do. You can do this. It's okay. If you got to walk a few kilometers, it's no big deal. My goal leading into this race, if you ask me what was my time goal, I didn't have a time goal. I wanted to be smooth in the swim. Smooth and steady in the swim, smooth and steady in the bike, and smooth and steady on the run, and then finish. Time, it didn't matter. I just want to cross that finish line and say, yes, that is race number 1 for 2022. Here we go. That was my plan. When I got to the run, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. All I could do was walk. All I could do was walk and get from aid station to aid station, and I would take ice, water, Coke, or Red Bull. And I looked at the food and I couldn't bear to stomach any more food or gels or chews or anything. My stomach just wasn't responsive to that. I'm like, I'll just pass that. And I just kept moving forward and forward. And then I started to do some math in my head. I'm like, I'm running at about a 10 or 11 minute kilometer pace. How long do I have? And I thought, I've done this many times, but I've never walked an Ironman. And my slowest Ironman, I think, was like 11:45. So I've never been in the 12s or higher than 12. But today was a guarantee I'm going to be over 12, because my swim was 107, my bike was 7 hours, and then there's transitions in there. And so I'm already, well into my time. Kept walking. I kept walking, but I did the math. I go, okay, I think I should be able to finish by midnight. I go, how long is that? That's going to be like 8 or more hours. Can I walk on an empty gas tank? Well, sure, there's aid stations up there, but can I do this in 8 hours? I thought, let's go. Let's give it a go, and let's try. And that's what I did. I tried. I walked, and I walked, and I walked, and I walked, and I walked some more. And then I felt so bad. I'm like, if I don't go faster, I'm not going to finish this race. I feel that in me, that if I don't pick it up, I'm not going to finish. I'm not going to finish. So I made a deal with myself. Now, first of all, let's rewind a bit. My first name is actually Andrew, and my alter race ego is Andy. And when I see signs, I saw a bunch of signs on the run course for Andy, and I pretended that someone made those signs up for me. So it's go Andy, blah, 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 right? There was a moment when I was walking, I go, I think I'm just going to stop after loop 1. There's 2 loops in the run. I go, I think I'm just going to stop after loop 1. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to stop. I don't feel well. I'm just going to stop. And then I looked up and I saw a sign. And the sign was, Andy, you've come this far. You might as well just finish. And I looked at that, I go, oh my gosh, that's totally a sign. Perfect timing. I pretended to high five the sign, and I kept on going. The theme of this race was Kumakahi, which means a new beginning. And I thought, okay, that's it. That's my sign. A sign for a new beginning. I'm going to pick it up now. When I was racing Ironman Arizona, I had to do that too, because I ran out of gas there too. But I played this trick with myself, which was I would run a little bit and then I'd walk. And so at this one, I knew I had to play a game with myself. So I go, Todd, you've got to pick this up. Let's go 10 seconds of running. 10 seconds of, I don't care how slow you go, 10 seconds of running, and then you can take 2 minutes walking. I said, great. I like the idea of that a lot. So I got my watch ready, and I hit start. I ran for 10 seconds. That 10 seconds, my body feels good. It wasn't sore. It wasn't anything. And I stopped after 10 seconds, and I took that full 2-minute break. And I kept going like that. And then I realized, you know what? Sometimes I need to go a little bit longer than 10 seconds because maybe there's someone's in front of me or whatever. So I'd go 20 seconds. I'd go 20 seconds, 2-minute rest. And I would keep doing that. And then I extended it to 30, 45. Then I go, oh man, I'm feeling good. For the descent, I ran the whole hill down. I know that sounds crazy, but I was so proud of myself for running this hill, which must have been like 2 or 3 minutes. I go, yes, I ran for 2 or 3 minutes. And then when the pitch changed from downhill to uphill, I'm like, oh, I gotta walk. So I played that game with myself of a run-walk routine. And then I was getting closer and closer to the end of loop 1. I go, I got this. I can do this run. The sun's going down. It's going to get cooler. I'm going to feel better. I've got this, no problem. I'm going to be able to run this second half in probably 2 hours. That's what I was thinking. Because I felt so good at moments. When I got to the run special need, I didn't want anything from my bag. I'm like, I don't want nothing in there. I want nothing. And so I need to think about for next time, what can I put in there that will be appealing? Like I saw a guy eating a sandwich. I go, But I'm you know what, having a sandwich sitting out there in that heat for that many hours, I don't know what kind of sandwich would survive. It would have to be something though. Like I don't know what I need to put in there to help me in moments like that. And I think back at the race and I go, I don't know what that magic ingredient would be. Would it be beef jerky? Would it be Pringles? You know, what is it that could, survive the heat and give me that kick? And part of me thinks it's beef jerky. I had a craving for beef jerky the next day and I ate a whole bag of it when I was driving to Arizona in 10 minutes. It was so good. It was so good. Once I started loop number 2, again, that elevation goes right up. Again, I walked up that hill. I tried to go for that a run-walk routine, but I couldn't. I was defeated. My energy was back to feeling super, super low. And I was doing the math in my head. I go, oh my gosh, this is going to be a long, long time. Normally, I finish a race, I'd be done by this time. So my body's like, you should be done. And after I finish a race, this is the truth, I find a spot and I lie down and everyone comes over and kind of kicks me and says, hey, are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. I need to stop. I get to a point where I just need to stop. And that's where I was in the race. I was about, 22 kilometers into the race. I'm like, I just need to stop. So I looked over on the side of the road. I saw some grass. I'm gonna walk over there. I'm gonna lie down the grass because I need a 5-minute break. I've been going for a long time here. I want to take a 5-minute break. So I laid down the grass, took off my hat, hit lap on my watch. I go 5 minutes. And this guy kept coming up to me. Hey, are you okay? Do you need medical? Do you want me to call someone? I'm like, no, I need a 5-minute break. I said, okay. I'm going to stay by you so no one keeps asking you. I said, perfect, thank you. So I did 5 minutes plus a couple more minutes, got myself up, started moving, and went to the next aid station. Oftentimes when I go to an aid station, I will ask myself, what do you feel like right now? Do you want water? Do you want Coke? Do you want a Red Bull? Do you want chips? Do you want gels? Do you want a bar? Do you want this? What do you want? What do you want? And at that moment, there's nothing I want. And I knew that was a bad sign because I still had 4 more hours at least 4 more hours of walking to go. I have nothing in the tank and I don't want to take anything in because I feel like, I don't know, like I'm going to be sick. I just don't feel good. Did I take something in that aid station? To be honest, I can't remember. But when I exit that aid station, and there's like a last place for trash. So you can walk a little bit outside the aid station. And then once you get outside that area, if you toss garbage, you're going to be disqualified or you get a penalty. And I was getting close to that area, and I wasn't throwing anything out. But I saw this garbage can in front of me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to throw up. So I grabbed the garbage can with both hands, put my head over top, and I start dry heaving. And this is not a good sign. I felt incredibly bad, and I go, that's it. I'm done. I am done. I have given everything I have for this day. I kept thinking about everyone back home, all my athletes, family, friends, people who follow me on Facebook, Instagram, people who listen to me on podcasts. And for all of you, I pushed myself as far as I could go. That was as far as I could go without causing harm. And that's a big thing. I have a lot of events planned for this year. I have to be smart about it and make sure that I can get to those events and not blow myself up and dig myself into a major hole that I can't get out of. And I'm hoping that I didn't do that by doing as far as I did in the race. But so far I feel okay. Recovery is going okay. I saw the volunteer. I said, I'm done. He said, you're done? I said, yes, I'm done. He said, okay, I will tell someone, they will radio that you're done, and someone will come pick you up. The volunteers there were amazing. So good. My hat goes off, and they were wonderful. So I'm sitting down, side of the road, and all I could do is I'm looking down the ground. I could see all these ants. All these ants crawling around and go, are these going to crawl up on me? Are these fire ants? I don't know. I don't know what kind of ants there are around here. But they're just little guys that go, I got to move. I have to move. So I move to a bench. I'm sitting on the bench, and the volunteers, they won't leave me alone, because there's so many of them there. They each taking their turn. And I'm incredibly thankful for that. Do you want water? Red Bull? Do you want any food? Do you want any gel? Over and over. Are you okay? Are you okay? And this one guy came up to me and just sat down, and he put his arm around me and just said, hey, I think you just need this right now. A little hug. I thought, oh my gosh, dude, thank you so much. And when you have nothing left in the tank, I don't know how you are, but I have trouble talking and saying thank you to people. But so when you are cheering for people on the course and they don't respond to you, like they can't even smile or wave, just know that, if they're like me, they're incredibly thankful for all the things you're doing, but they may not be able to respond in kind. So just know that. And so I always try to remind people that it's hard for racers to reciprocate what they're giving. And the guy said, you know what, you can just sit here. Just sit here. This is like the bench of recovery, where many people before you have sat here. They've taken a little break, and then they got up and kept going. And I said, that's not me. That's not me today. And I know that, and I am okay with that because I've given everything that I've got. I know that. I don't have any more to give. And he's like, okay. The head, I don't know if she was the head volunteer or just the medical person at the aid station. She's like, okay, your van's gonna come here and pick you up. She's gonna be right over here. When she comes, I'm gonna tell you, where to go. Van came, I hopped in the car. She goes, you can sit in the front, you can sit in the back. And it was like a 7-seater van. So I didn't go in the front. I went in like the next row, right behind the driver. And I'm like, yes, I'm in an air-conditioned van, and I no longer have to move. I'm out of the heat. I'm happy that I'm done. Well, I'm not saying I'm happy I'm done, but I'm happy I got picked up. And I'm making my way forward to the next part of this race. Calls kept coming in, and the driver had to pick up a bunch more people. And she's like, I'm sorry, but we need to pick up more people. I'm like, that's okay. Look, I'm good. We need to pick up as many people as you need to get them off the course, because I know how they feel. I got into the van, and he goes, you're done too? I go, yeah, I'm done too. So he sat behind me, and then later on we drove and picked up a lady, and she went to the front seat. She wasn't doing so good, but when she got into the car, this is what I find is really interesting. She turned around, and she looked at me and said, do you feel sad? You didn't finish, right? Do you feel sad? Now remember, she's an athlete who was unable to finish. She DNF'd just like me. And she looked at me and said, do you feel sad? And I said, no. She said, why not? I said, do you feel sad? Yes. She goes, yes, I feel sad. And I think what happened is I switched from being in athlete mode into coaching mode. But sometimes those two hats become one. And when I was sitting there and answering that question, and the reason why I didn't feel sad is because I felt like I pushed as hard as I could on that day. And that is something that we don't do very often, is dig that deep. Like, there's not many days in your life, right? I hope there's not that many days where you have nothing left in the tank, but yet you keep going forward. And that was my day, and I kept going forward. I kept thinking about, like I said, all the people who support me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep going. And then I got to a point where my body said, no, you can't go anymore, Todd. I'm sorry, you are done. This is it. And when you get to that point, I surrendered and said, okay, I'm done. I've given it all I have. And because I gave everything that I had, I didn't feel sad, because I know, I think if I gave up after the bike, I go, oh, I feel tired, I don't want to do the bike, I don't want to do the run, then I would have felt sad for not trying. Do you know what I'm saying? But because I started the run, I tried to run, I walked a whole heck of a lot of it, I ran a little bit, I tried my absolute best to get this thing done, because I really wanted to get it done. I wanted to get that medal and the t-shirt and cross your arms, because not crossing the finish line, it sucks. It just really sucks. And it's something that if you're in this sport long enough, you're going to experience. And if you don't, then you're incredibly lucky. My success rate in triathlon is pretty high. Like, I've done over 100 triathlons. I think I probably DNF'd in about 6, which I get, that's a really good percentage, but still, it sucks. It sucks. But yeah, I didn't feel sad, and she was really sad, and she was saying, that's it. I go, you know what, there's always another race. She goes, no, that's it, I'm done. Now, it'd be interesting to see how she's feeling today. Almost a week passed since the race is gone. Does she still feel sad or not? I've talked to many of my athletes about how I deal with a poor race, and I had a poor race at Ironman Arizona, and I read a book called The Gap and the Gain. Great book. It's a great book. And the whole idea is, when you focus on the gap is the area of your life where you're not getting what you want. So in Arizona, well, let's talk about the World Champs, because that's what just happened. At the World Champs, the gap here is me not getting the medal, not crossing the finish line, not getting the finisher shirt, not getting the t-shirt, whatever else they gave you, I didn't get it. Okay, so if I focus on that gap, I'm going to feel incredibly bad, like incredibly bad. Yet, if I focus on the gain, so this part here, beneath it, I got myself to the World Championships. I had a heck of a lot of fun in the week leading up to it. I supported people as best I could. I had fun. I thanked the volunteers. I gave a good effort on the swim, good effort on the bike, and a good effort on the run. I did the best I could. And because of that, and the trip for coming down here was amazing. Right? So right now, after the race, I did a bunch of amazing things. And if it wasn't for that race and having the opportunity to do this, I wouldn't have experienced that. So those are the areas that I need to focus on, and that's the gain. And when I do that, I feel much better. But what's funny, and I think we're all fall into this trap of, instead of focusing on the gains, we focus on, oh man, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? And when you do that, that's when life is not so good. So yeah, some days I do feel sad. I mean, I'm not going to lie that there are some moments where, yeah, I do feel sad. Yesterday I was in Sedona. It's a beautiful town. And I went on a hike called Devil's Bridge. And I was on the bridge, and I got my picture taken. And what we do is, because there's a lineup of people who want to get their picture taken, because it's a beautiful spot. And I like taking pictures a lot. Like, I do. I don't know why. It's just something that I like. And as you're hiking up the trail, people often say, hey, do you mind taking a picture of us, please? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. Give me your phone. So what I do when I'm gonna take a picture of someone, I take their phone. First thing I'll do is I'll probably clean off the lens on the back. Clean off the lens. All right. I make sure the settings, or where it should be. If they have 3 lenses, I'll probably take a picture with all 3 so they can choose which one they want. I'll make sure that the picture is focused, and I'll take that picture and I go, okay, smile. That's number 1. And I go, hang on, here's number 2. And I get them to point someplace. They look at me like I'm crazy, What do you mean point? Yeah, point someplace. And when they point someplace, and I don't care where they point, the pointing doesn't matter where you point. The idea is you're getting yourself out of being doing something normal. And they point someplace, they're laughing, they're giggling, they're pointing, click, click, click. And you know what they said? That's going to be the best picture of our trip. Yeah, I go, it could be. And so when we're waiting in line to do this, you walk on this bridge, you hand your phone to someone behind you or ahead of you, and they take the picture. And so I was telling them, look how the people are coming on the bridge. Look what they do when they're taking their picture, right? Some people have their hands down, some people have their hands up, some people come very close to the edge, too close to my comfort. But I was saying, you know what? No one's pointing, and no one is pointing down. So let's get one point. I want to see you guys pointing down. I want to see you pointing across. And it was just a neat thing to do. And so I handed them my phone and said, look, you only have 1 lens. I have 3. This is how it works. So I gave them a 60-second tutorial on how to take a good picture with my phone. And when I was on the bridge, I took that picture, or they took that picture of me, probably about an hour later, maybe 2 hours later when I was having lunch and I was looking at that picture. I got really emotional by looking at it because it was me with my arms right up. And that's what I do when I finish an Ironman. And I didn't get that. And when you don't have that opportunity for closure, there's a part of me that really misses that. And I get that is the gap. And so instead of me focusing on what I didn't get, this is what I'm doing is I'm taking that picture of me on Devil's Bridge with my arms up and my head tilted up towards the sky as my finisher picture for the whole journey for the race. And that to me is an amazing picture and a way for me to make it okay. Yeah, I would have loved to have that Ironman finisher photo, but when I look at that other picture, it incorporates much more than that because it incorporates the outside beauty, it incorporates the hiking, the trip. I have, clothes on, like not tri-clothes on. I mean, I have a triathlon shirt on, but it's just me. It's just me, and I'm saying thank you for being where I am. And so I had a DNF at the World Championships, and do I feel sad? Sometimes I do, but more often times than not, I don't feel sad because I feel like I gave my best in that race. And if this happens to you, or when this happens to you and you get a DNF, I hope you can take some of the lessons that I learned and you can apply it to yourself, because it's so easy to go, oh man, I suck, I'm gonna quit, I'm not gonna do this again, but not to do that. Celebrate your wins, celebrate your small victories, your milestones, and go, yeah, I didn't get that, but I was able to do all this other stuff, and that is good. That's good. The other stuff, yeah, that's going to come, maybe in the next race. And I know that the next race, when I cross the finish line, so good, because I've had this before, and lots of athletes, I like being able to share this with my athletes, saying, look, I understand what you're going through, and it's hard, it's heartbreaking, but wait till you cross the finish line of your next race, no matter what it is, no matter what race it is, and you can go, it's going to feel so much better, so much better. Okay, hey, thank you so much for following me, for all sending me your good wishes and following up with me after the race. I I feel so blessed and touched by all the message that people send me. So thank you very much. Having a DNF is not easy. It is hard for all of us. No matter how many races you've done, it's a hard thing to do, and I don't like it. Will it happen again? Probably will, but the more we stay in the sport, we have to be able to deal with all the different things that we're thrown at. So once again, thank you very much for listening. I look forward to our next podcast together. Mahalo. Hey, are you training for an Ironman or 7.3 this year? Perhaps this is your first or second one. You want some free tips? I've compiled tips from athletes all over the world. I asked them to share their one tip with brand new Ironman athletes. I was overwhelmed with hundreds of responses. I took the most common tips and put them together in a brand new ebook. To grab your free copy, please visit 101trainingtips.com. Thank you very much for listening. I look forward to our next podcast together. If you have any questions, please send me a note. You can contact me at Instagram at NoLimitsCoach, Facebook at NoLimitsTry, and my website, NoLimitsTriathlon.com. Happy training, and we'll talk soon.